Dr. Sharma, we were talking about polytheism in Hinduism and, or actually what you referred to as polymorphism. And I find it a little bit strange that you were saying that Hindus don't necessarily distinguish between their God and the God of maybe another religion. Can you talk to me a little bit more about that?
Yes. First thing I would like to clarify is that when we use the word polymorphism, we include the idea of no forms within it. That is, you can worship God in any form, many forms, any form, or no form. And once you do that, then you can see, it might sound strange, but it is very simple in a sense, that all these religions insist that in some way God is beyond creation. Either the whole of God, part of God. God is beyond creation. From this it follows that any attempt by those like us within the creation to try to grasp what is beyond creation can only be an attempt. Because by definition, it is something greater, something beyond us. This is actually very well captured in the Islamic statement, Allahu Akbar. It is usually translated as God is great. But I am told that its proper translation is God is greater. God is greater than anything you can think of, anything in the empirical world, and so on. So if this is the case, then all of us are making these attempts. Hindus in their own way, Buddhists, Christians, Jews. But we are trying, the attempts are directed towards the same reality. So there does not seem to be much of a problem in relating to the attempts others are making with what one's own attempts are. And sharing in the attempt, because after all of us are trying, are directing this attempt at the same reality.
But then is there some part or some point in Hinduism where they do distinguish between themselves, between another religion?
At the level we are discussing the matter at the moment, they will do it at the point when people who are making the one attempt start claiming that this is the only valid attempt. Because they are acutely aware of the fact, firstly, of how the ultimate reality is ultimate, and then that different people are making different attempts, and that you should respect them. So both when they think of the reality and when they think of us as human beings, they think that this is, from their point of view, not a very wholesome proposition, and even a preposterous one. So at that point, yes, they will balk. When we come to the level of doctrines, then of course we find that Hinduism has certain doctrines which set it apart from other religions. The doctrine of reincarnation is one such doctrine, and so on. But even here, they would regard their own doctrines as actually leading to, promoting a certain kind of life, as a result of which you do not have to rely on doctrines or dogmas, but you are in the presence of that reality yourself. So to that extent, they even recognize that their own dogmas may be dispensable, or that if they have dogmas, they have only to be transcended. But they have their own, you might say, quote-unquote dogmas, though they would not call it that. And then when we come to yet another level, that of community, then the issue becomes even more complex, because communities have their own life in history, they have their own social norms, they have their practices, and these may very visibly differ between those carried on or practiced by the Hindus and those by others. So it is not that there are no differences, but it is the attitude towards difference. It has been said that the Hindu position in this matter is that we may divide in order to distinguish, but we may never distinguish in order to divide.